Do you ever look around and feel like you're the last human on Earth, but somehow your phone keeps buzzing with notifications from people who don't even know you exist? Welcome to the loneliness epidemic. We've got memes, we've got swiping, we've got AI companions who will text you sweet nothings while you die slowly in your overpriced one-bedroom apartment. Now, I'm not saying things are bad. I'm saying they're so disconnected that if aliens landed tomorrow, the first thing they'd think is, why are you all staring into little rectangles while your souls leak out of your eyeballs? All right, so today I want to talk about that deep, gnawing emptiness we all pretend isn't real. And let's start with a little light horror. So, according to a 2023 CDC report, nearly half of US adults report feeling lonely always or often. That's not occasionally bummed out. That's chronic, bone deep, I would hug a snake if it made eye contact loneliness. I mean, you know it's bad when the US Surgeon General issues an 80-page advisory about loneliness being as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Not figuratively, literally. Your isolation is rotting you from the inside like a carton of discount gas station sushi. And it turns out that if you're under 30, congrats, you've won the misery lottery. Gen Z is now considered the loneliest generation ever recorded, despite being the most connected in human history. That's what happens when your childhood friendships are all based on Fortnite skins and disappearing Snapchat streaks. All right, so let's really zoom in on one of the most deranged part of this whole thing: modern dating. I mean, you knew we were going to go here. So once upon a time, you met someone because they sat behind you in high school algebra, or maybe they lived next door, or worked at the record store you shoplifted from. You got to know them slowly. You fell in love by accident, naturally, like catching the flu. And now you're gamified. You're reduced to a profile picture, a pithy one-liner, and your proximity to someone else's geolocation settings. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, the new holy trinity of romantic disappointment. We swipe like slot machines, chasing that dopamine hit, that little red heart, that validation that, yes, you are hot enough to be wanted, but not enough to be loved. It's not a date. It's a casino. That's right, we're back in the casino again. And you're the desperate gambler holding out hope that one more spin will land you someone who doesn't just ghost you after 3 texts and a picture of their dog. All right. So, you ever notice how dating apps never really end? There's no finish line. You don't get to a gold medal or a girlfriend. You just get more options. Always more options. Choice paralysis. More people to judge. More profiles to scroll past, like the Amazon products you'll never buy. I mean, we're flipping through like a catalog full of people instead of products until we eventually start to confuse the two. And that's kind of where we're at now. This is called intermittent variable rewards. It's the same trick that slot machines use. Give people unpredictable payouts and they'll never leave. It hijacks your brain's reward system. It makes love feel like gambling and rejection feel like a normal Tuesday. And because we're constantly swiping, we start treating people like content, like options. We're not looking for a partner. We're scrolling for a feeling. All right, so a 2023 Pew Research study found that 63% of dating app users feel exhausted by the process. Exhausted. Like they just ran a marathon through a field of red flags and unsolicited genital photos. People report feeling dehumanized, burnt out, anxious, and less hopeful about relationships the longer they use the apps. Because dating apps weren't designed to help us find love. They were designed to keep us swiping. And even worse, they're killing your self-esteem. You start to believe that your value is defined by your matches, that you are your rejection rate, that if you were just 10 pounds thinner or 3 inches taller or knew how to use a ring light, that you'd be worthy of love. So you'd think that with all the technology in our pants, don't laugh, we'd be more connected than ever. I mean, you can message someone across the planet in 1 second. You can send a photo of your coffee to 800 people who didn't ask, and you can FaceTime with your cat. But connection isn't about bandwidth. It's about presence, attention, and meaning. And we've got none of that. Instead, we have notifications. We have a million friends, but no one to call when you're having a panic attack in the canned soup aisle at Target. I mean, we've got hearts, thumbs, smiley faces, but no actual touch. We've basically replaced eye contact with read receipts. We've replaced intimacy with emojis. We've replaced conversation with whatever the hell LOL is supposed to mean when no one's actually laughing. All right, so here's something fun and depressing. A 2021 study from Harvard found that 1 in 3 Americans feels serious loneliness. That's 100 million people walking around like ghosts, hoping someone accidentally brushes their arm in the grocery store so they can remember what human contact feels like. But reality doesn't pay like fantasy does. Apps, screens, porn, filters, streaming services, it's all synthetic affection. It's safer, easier, and way more predictable than dealing with an actual human who might say something horrifying like, I'm emotionally unavailable, but I think I love you. So, modern loneliness is not just the absence of people, it's the presence of artificial people. It's simulation overload, it's drowning in mirrors instead of windows. And we're looking at representations of connection, not thing itself. And eventually, your brain starts to forget the difference. Okay, so somewhere along the way, society convinced us that self reliance was the ultimate goal. Hyper independence, hustle culture. I don't need anyone, and I never need to ask for help. Cool. Now we have entire cities full of people who don't know their neighbors, but have strong opinions about oat milk. It seems that we've turned community into a weakness, and vulnerability, forget it. You cry in public, and people look at you like you just shit on the sidewalk. Unless you're on TikTok, in which case it gets 40,000 likes and a sponsorship from BetterHelp. We forgot how to be interdependent. We forgot that humans are wired to connect, to care, and to co regulate. And now we wonder why everyone's anxious, medicated, and romanticizing the idea of disappearing into the woods. And believe me, I'd love to disappear into the woods myself. So I get it. Okay, so let's go back to dating for a second because, oh boy, modern dating has become a job interview where nobody shows up on time and everyone's lying on their resume. We've over optimized attraction and we've turned chemistry into checklists. And people talk about relationships like project managers talk about deliverables. I mean, we've got red flags, green flags, soft launches, hard launches, trauma bonds, situationships, ghosting, love bombing, orbiting. What else? Breadcrumbing, benching. It's a psychosexual baseball game, and nobody's winning. I saw a 2022 Psychology Today article that revealed many people now experience what's called dating app induced learned helplessness. That's therapist speak for I've been rejected, ghosted, lied to, or ignored so many times that I now believe love is a scam and I should just get a dog and eventually die. Though I have to admit that doesn't sound like such a bad idea. However, all right, let's get uncomfortable. There's a gendered element to all this. Women are increasingly opting out of dating entirely because, frankly, a lot of men aren't doing great. A 2022 study found that men make up 62% of dating app users, but they get far fewer matches. So now we've got hordes of lonely men competing in a rigged casino while women are being bombarded with 500 hey messages a day from guys whose profile pictures look like mugshots. But it's not just about apps, it's about emotional skill. The same study showed that young men are falling behind in emotional intelligence, communication, and relationship maintenance. So, what happens? Women say, screw it, I'll stay single. Men say, screw it, women are the problem. And now we have Reddit threads that read like manifestos from people who just lost custody of their personality. All right, so here's the math. In 1990, 3% of men under the age of 30 reported having no sex in the past year. And in 2023, 33%. That's a tenfold increase. And no, they're not choosing celibacy because they found Jesus or developed a sudden passion for knitting. It's not just sex that's disappearing. It's intimacy, friendship, touch, conversation that lasts longer than a meme reference. We're in a collective dry spell of the soul. And it's not just the young. Senior citizens are lonelier than ever, too. As of 2021, over 1/3 of adults over 45 report being chronically lonely. That's your mom, your dad, your weird neighbor who feeds pigeons and talks to squirrels, etc. So, loneliness isn't just being alone. It's the absence of being seen. It's that feeling when you text someone something meaningful and they reply with the thumbs up if they reply at all. It's being in a crowded room and feeling like you're underwater. It's a birthday where your only card is from your internet provider. Loneliness rewires your brain. It increases cortisol, decreases serotonin. It's linked to heart disease, stroke, depression, anxiety, and early death. I mean, it literally kills you. Like a death from 1,000 cuts. Okay. Now that I've painted the inside of your skull with emotional tar, here's where we pivot. Not into sunshine and rainbows. This isn't a TED talk for wine moms, no offense to wine moms, but into possibility. Because loneliness at its core is a relational injury. That means the cure is relationship. Real ones. Not likes, matches, or followers. People. Flawed, annoying, awkward people. Okay, so before we get into what helps, let's talk about what doesn't. We can't algorithm our way out of loneliness. We can't swipe through it and can't Amazon Prime a connection. And know that AI partner who texts you affirmations at 3 a.m., that's not love. That's just code simulating what love looks like after corporate capitalism lobotomized it and put it on a monthly subscription plan. The apps won't save us. They were never supposed to. Dating apps were built for profit, not connection. They need us single. They need us to be endlessly scrolling. Their whole business model depends on our almost but not quite satisfaction. They're the slot machine that promises connection, but mostly gives us disappointment and carpal tunnel. They gamified human interaction, which is great if you're trying to market shoes, and it's horrific if you're trying to feel seen, loved, or remotely human. So here's something nobody on social media will tell you. Real connection is awkward. It's analog. It's eye contact that's slightly too long. It's misread texts. It's emotional exposure with no undo button. But it's also the only thing that actually works. We need in-person friendships again. We need slow, boring, consistent interactions that don't give us a dopamine spike, but make us feel a little less like we're screaming into a void. Think, book clubs, community gardens, pickleball. Think awkward game nights with weird neighbors where you learn someone is allergic to raisins in real time. That stuff matters. That's the fabric of a life worth living. Not filtered photos and algorithms. All right. So here's something dark. Chronic loneliness rewires your brain to expect rejection. You become hypervigilant. You interpret neutral faces as negative. You assume people don't like you before they even meet you. And you know what happens? You behave in a way that ensures your own isolation. It's like Stockholm Syndrome, but lonelier. So, part of healing isn't just meeting new people, it's rewriting the script that says we're unlovable, too weird, or too broken, or too whatever the hell it is. Because connection is a two-way mirror. We won't let anyone truly see us until we stop hiding from ourselves. Adult friendship is another issue. Adult friendship is a logistical nightmare. Hey, we should get together like really soon. And cut to 6 months later, nothing has happened. We've liked each other's memes and haven't spoken in person. We live in a culture where we need a Google Calendar, 5 DMs, and a blood oath just to grab coffee. If friendship has become so transactional and scheduled that spontaneity feels suspicious. Like, why is this person calling me without warning? Are they dying? We need to deformalize connection. Bring back random check ins, bring back sitting on someone's couch and not doing anything. I'm not saying go as far as like Seinfeld and, have Kramer just walk in your door and go through your fridge. But, let's bring back unstructured time with humans. It's the most undervalued currency on the planet. Okay, so, if you're an introvert, I get it. I am. Some of us don't really like people. We're introverted. Socializing is exhausting. People are loud and smell weird, etc., etc. But I don't think we should confuse introversion with emotional starvation. Even the quietest among us still need tribe, touch, trust. You don't have to go to a rave, but maybe a coffee with one person, a walk with a friend who won't make you talk too much. We're not broken for needing less social time, but we're not bulletproof either. The myth of the lone wolf is cool until winter comes and there's nobody to help you dig your grave. Okay. So dating, it's a mess, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And here's a few thoughts. Number one, get off the apps or at least detox for a while. Seriously, they're built to keep us insecure. They're mirrors that reflect the worst parts of how transactional we've become. Number two, stop trying to find the one. Instead of trying to find the one, focus on becoming the one. Find someone who puts your nervous system at ease. Someone who listens when you talk and laughs at your jokes and doesn't make you want to walk into traffic. That's a damn good start. I know, easier said than done, but number three, Lower your expectations and raise your standards. Expect awkwardness. Expect imperfection. But don't settle for people who make you feel smaller just because you're afraid of being alone. All right. Number 4, lead with honesty. I mean, it's terrifying, but also it filters out the bullshit fast. Hey, I'm emotionally weird and scared of abandonment, but working on it is way hotter than I'm chill, lol. All right, so let's talk about touch. Remember that thing, skin on skin, a hug that lasts longer than a handshake? There's a thing called touch starvation, and it's ravaging people. We never were meant to go weeks or months, some people years, without physical affection. And no, your weighted blanket doesn't count. And yes, I've tried. So, touch lowers cortisol, it boosts oxytocin, it makes us feel like we exist in the world. And we've medicalized and sexualized it so much that people are afraid to even ask for a damn hug. You want to combat loneliness? Start hugging your friends again. Or go to a cuddle therapist. They exist. And no, it's not that weird. What is weird is trying to fix human connection through a screen. Okay, so this is important. Being lonely does not mean we failed. It means we're alive in a time when human connection is being algorithmically dismantled. And it's not your fault, but it is our responsibility. And we have to relearn connection the way people with strokes relearn speech. Slowly, awkwardly, with a lot of bad sentences. But I think it's worth it. Because on the other side of loneliness is a weird, beautiful, dumb, unpredictable thing called intimacy. And yes, it might hurt us, but it might also save us. Okay, so let's wrap up with some actual tools. Not advice that sounds like it came from a yoga influencer with a trust fund. Okay, 1, micro interactions. Say hi to the barista. Make small talk with the mail carrier. And look, I get it. If you're an introvert, you hate small talk. But trust me on this. Just try a few things. I mean, I work on this daily. Compliment someone's shirt. It doesn't have to be about deep connections. It's about priming your brain to feel connected again. 2, show up in person. Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, pants are required. But nothing replaces physical presence. Go to the thing. Be awkward. You're going to survive. 3, start tiny tribes. Dinner with a couple of friends, a walk club, a group text that isn't cursed. Build your own low pressure community. 4, tell the truth more. Vulnerability is the antidote to loneliness. Try this line. Hey, I've been feeling kind of isolated. Want to hang out? If they run away, they weren't your people anyway. 5, create a routine of connection. A weekly call, a monthly get together, put it on the calendar like it's a doctor's appointment, because honestly, it's just as important. Look, I struggle with all of these, but in speaking this out loud, I'm trying to accept more accountability in changing things. That's part of the reason I like making these videos. Okay, a few final thoughts, and then we're done with this long video. Loneliness is the default setting of modern life, but I don't think it has to be permanent. We don't need 100 friends, and we don't need, well, we do need, what we do need, a few weirdos who don't flinch when you cry, overshare, or talk about death over pancakes. We don't need to be fixed. We need to be seen. And if you feel alone, remember, so does everyone else pretty much. Even the hot ones on Instagram, even the guys with 6-packs and podcasts, even the women doing TikTok dances in kitchens that cost more than your entire childhood. We're all kind of flailing. So, make an attempt to reach out, even if your hand is shaky, even if your voice cracks, because the most rebellious act in a disconnected world is to give a shit out loud. And hey, don't mistake solitude for a death sentence. Sometimes being alone is how you figure out who you are. I need lots of alone time. But connection, that's how you remember why it matters. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching.